Yesterday afternoon, you were tweeting about this as I was on with Scott Laughlin here on the program that there was a three-way deal in the works between Columbus, Philadelphia, and the Los Angeles Kings, and we all know the specifics of the deal now. And the one thing, and I'll sort of go through every team here with you, but I think one thing should be clear here. And I was mentioning, I cut Chuck Fletcher. I don't come down hard on Chuck Fletcher. I know a lot of Philadelphia Flyers fans have done that. But I really don't believe, nor does anybody believe that he had, both hands on the wheel all the time for the Philadelphia Flyers. A couple of things from this trade. The rebuild is very much on. If you had any doubts about the Philadelphia Flyers rebuilding, this trade answers that question. And two, it does very much seem like, and again, this is only the first trade of Daniel Briere's career as general manager. He is working with autonomy. This doesn't seem like a trade that any of the consultants would have approved of. Your thoughts on this deal from the Philadelphia point of view?
Well, I think the key thing you kind of just said there already was that you have to, if you're going to do a rebuild, you have to commit to it. And this is commitment to a rebuild. Everyone's talking about this year's draft, and for good reason. It's 3 weeks away, and it's Connor Bedard at the top. But there's a heck of a player in next year's draft, Macklin Celebrini, who had a historic season for a 16-year-old in the USHL. And, the people who really look forward and really are paid to map out the future for their teams are well aware of him. And so, Philadelphia has started the process towards that. Honestly, Sean Walker is, I think, a really decent defenseman who's going to play a good role there for Philly. But we all know what's going on now. They got 3 picks out of it, and if you're gonna do a rebuild, you really have to commit to it. And for the first time, maybe ever, we're seeing Philly commit to it. And Provorov, he needed a fresh start. Everything that happened there last year. The Pride jerseys, there were a lot of players in that room who were not happy with him, but also just his play had dropped. He's a good defenseman, and his play had dropped, and it was clear that even beyond what happened that night, that there were splinters between him and the rest of his teammates. And he's a guy who absolutely needed to start somewhere new, and he's going to get to start somewhere new. And I'll say this, I don't think Columbus is done. I think they're looking to do some more stuff.
Yeah, let me ask you about Columbus here and Jarmo Kekäläinen. We have spoken, you and I, about how this, the Babcock hiring might be the last coach hiring for Jarmo Kekäläinen. All eyes are now very much turned towards the general manager. And you might look at some of the deals and say, some of these are sort of Hail Mary passes. I mean, I don't want to call them desperation because they don't feel like desperation, but more Hail Mary type plays, whether it's Mike Babcock. This one can be a home run or it could fizzle. Ivan Provorov could be a home run if you can rediscover what he was when he had Matt Niskanen as his defense pair, or it might fizzle. We'll see what's next for Columbus here with Jarmo Kekäläinen. But I'm with you. Now that all attention is on the general manager and getting this team back to respectability, I don't know that Columbus would ever consider putting their first round pick in play. But if they're going for it and trying to reinforce this team, they pick up Provorov. Last year was Johnny Gaudreau. Before that was Patrick Laine. They want to piece this team together with established NHL players. Is anything right now, in your estimation, sacred with the Columbus Blue Jackets, or is Jarmo listening on everything?
I think there's certain things he's not going to do. He's not going to do Zach Werenski, obviously. And to be perfectly blunt, I would I know there's all these rumors about maybe they'll trade the number 3 pick. I don't know. To me, that seems kind of crazy. You would really have to show me a deal that would make sense for the number 3 overall pick. I mean, you really would.
Yep.
I understand they have to win, and I understand that it's very clear to me with the hiring of Mike Babcock in this trade that another season like last year in Columbus is not an option And Jarmo knows that if he doesn't get this right soon, he's not going to be the GM of that team any longer. But ultimately, your resume as a general manager lasts longer than your time in a market or a city or a team. Like 5 years after you leave, you're still going to be graded on the moves you make. And like people are saying, well, they might trade a number 3 pick, or they might trade like one of their young prospects. Like, would they trade a Kent Johnson? Like, I would really love to see how any of that would make sense for Columbus. You can add without trading. Like, who's the third overall pick? It's probably Carlson, right, Jeff? Like, tell me how that makes sense.
I don't know.
But like, tell me how
the Worlds, I don't know if it's Leo Carlson.
Okay, so if it's not Carlson, it's Fantilli, right? Like, tell me how that makes sense. Like, how does that make sense?
No, listen. The only way it makes sense is if there is the belief that right now the manager needs to take this leap with the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, but even that doesn't make sense.
This is his next stepping out.
Yeah, but even that on its own doesn't make sense. Like, it has to be a super trade because, like, you know what, Jeff? You know how people think now, and this is how I hope. This is how I would hope that Kekäläinen thinks too, and the Blue Jackets think. Like, if you like. People remember trades now hundreds of years after they happen. Like, how many stories do you see out there where people still talk about, oh, well, this is what happened and this is what couldn't have happened? People love that stuff. They can't get enough of it. So if you're going to make that deal, you have to understand the risk that for 50 years from now, people are going to be saying, that's the guy who made that trade. And that shouldn't be the reason you're afraid from doing something completely. But you have to recognize the risk of how, like I think if you're trading that pick, and there's a reason those picks never get traded. But if you're trading that pick, man, you better be getting a great return.